You already know I keep my finger on the pulse of ridiculous stories going on around the globe. I'm like Charles Xavier jacked into Cerebro, seeing the silliness on our planet at all times. I'm obsessed with it. LeBron, scream if you love wacky news stories. Ah! So the thing is, I just saw something pretty absurd. A couple months ago, an 86-year-old man was fined over $300 for littering because he spit out a leaf that blew into his mouth. This happened in England. Roy Marsh, 86 years old, spit out a leaf that blew into his mouth, which led to a fine. As I was sitting there, a gale blew a big reed into my mouth. I spat it out, and just as I got up to walk away, two enforcement officers came up to me. Roy ought to be counting his lucky stars they didn't kick his teeth in and start beating him with batons. Spitting out a leaf? Are you kidding me? Who is this? Cobra Commander? What kind of villainous scum does that? To get off with only a fine in what could have easily been a death penalty is a shocking softball. A slap on the wrist for something like spitting out a leaf? Oh my god, the lawlessness. It's sickening. That's tantamount to treason. And he gets to walk away with just a fine. I'll flush the sarcasm here for just a moment. Can you even imagine being this big of a loser like these two officers here? You see an elderly man, an 86-year-old man, spit out a leaf, and you just rush over there like it's the most exciting moment of your life, like this is your action hero moment, to just flop a fine on his lap for it, for littering. Just picture this scenario. Old man spits out a leaf and immediately just starts hearing sirens blaring. They got these two goobers, cherries on, scooting in sideways. Sir, what the fuck do you think you're doing? You have a license for that spit? Oh, what the fuck? And then you get like a fine. All for just spitting out a leaf. Marsh told the outlet that one of the officers told him they saw him spitting on the floor, which led to the elderly man calling the local enforcer a silly boy. Fair. That's not aggressive or anything. He probably thought it was some kind of joke, so he was just being a bit, facetious here, I would say. That doesn't really sound like fighting words or anything, calling him a silly boy. Because it is a ridiculous notion having officers come up to you and say they saw you spit on the floor. Yep, so what? Big whoop, pussy. It was all unnecessary and all out of proportion, Marsh said, per the BBC. In a Facebook post from Marsh's daughter, she said, Dad, who has walking difficulties but does his best to walk every day around the boating lake, inhaled a small leaf that made him choke. Dad has severe asthma and a heart condition, but he managed to cough up the leaf and spit it out. Just the leaf. So according to his daughter, he had inhaled the leaf after the gust, choked on it for a second, and then was able to cough it up and spit it out. That's when he got slapped with the fine after the officers confronted him. What was he supposed to do? Just choke to death? Just die? Like, how else are you even supposed to handle this? Like, what's the alternative way of getting a leaf out of your throat that you are choking on besides just spitting it up? Was he supposed to, like, track down some officers and beg them to stick their fingers down his throat to start, like, scooping it out in order to avoid littering? Like, I just don't understand. Like, I genuinely cannot comprehend what other methods or means there were for him to handle this in a way that didn't lead to a multi-$100 fine. Marsh ended up receiving a fine of $334.50, but was later reduced on appeal to $200.70. He paid the latter. Adrian Finley, a county... Oh, Jesus, sorry, I had a big burp stuck in my throat right there. If this was the UK, I might have got fucking fined for littering with the stink air that I just spit out there. Oh my god, that was rancid. That was revolting. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Anyway, Adrian Finley, a county... I burped so hard it made me illiterate. A county councillor who works as a representative for reform on Lincolnshire County Council told the BBC he had received numerous similar complaints from others in the area. So I guess this is just like a common racket where they're just slapping people with fines for really trivial shit. Enforcement officers are taking it too far. There needs to be discretion about how enforcement officers, issue fines. If it looks like a genuine accident, then give people the opportunity to apologize and pick it up. Sounding less like enforcement officers and more like hall monitors, but even hall monitors wouldn't go this hard on something so silly, so outrageously dumb. Like an 86-year-old man who spit out a leaf. And I guess judging by this statement, it's a common trend with these enforcement officers over there to be issuing fines for littering or what they perceive as littering. Though, If this guy had a handful of leaves and threw them on the ground, I would still hesitate to call that littering. It's leaves in the great outdoors. That's their goddamn home. Leaves come from outside. Like, I don't know how, even if he did deliberately chew up a leaf and spit it out, how is that even littering? It's not like he had like a handful of soda cans and was just throwing them out all over the place in order to ruin the atmosphere or something by littering everywhere he could, polluting or anything. He spit out a leaf. A leaf that was the aggressor, mind you. The leaf attacked him. It fucking launched itself into his throat, causing him to choke. So he spit it out and then had to fork over a couple $100 because of that. So the leaf, we need to be investigating that. We got that's more of a pressing problem than him spitting out the leaf. This story is so stupid that it actually had me somewhat fuming, like playfully fuming, I suppose. But it reminded me a lot of another really wacky one we covered like a year ago, where we even had like a roundtable debate where I think it was Ohio, where Supreme Court ruled that boneless chicken wings can have bones. This was after a customer had eaten a boneless wing and actually suffered a serious injury because of the bone in the wing cutting his shit up. And they actually ruled that boneless is a cooking technique, a cooking style that doesn't necessarily indicate the absence of bones. So it's unreasonable to expect boneless wings to have to have no bones in them. It was still one of the most ridiculous things I've ever fucking heard in my life, by the way. And reading about this leaf fine brought up similar feelings as that. And I just had to yap about it a bit. That's really it. So yeah.